7:01.
Okay, let's get started. We'll call to order District 208 Board of Education, the evening of June 9th, 2026.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Caputo.
Present.
Mr. Durkin.
Here.
Ms. Gaska.
Here.
Ms. Ruska.
Here.
Mr. Novak.
Here.
Mr. Williams. Ms. Salis.
Here. We have recognitions this evening. Dr. Freitas?
Good evening, honorable board members, and Dr. Skinkis, our superintendent. From the words of Coach Head, Xavier has been an engine for the boys lacrosse team, providing stability and serving as a rallying point for our team. The Whitney Young game describes him best. Gavin won a face-off, Eddie picked up the ground ball, I called the timeout, and then Xavier called the game. He has a motto that does not quit and exemplifies their self-given motto of blue-collar lacrosse. We can't wait to see how he accomplishes as he continues his athletic career at Division I school, Mercyhurst University. We would like to congratulate our all-state lacrosse player, Xavier Morozic de Jesus.
Congratulations.
Next, we would like to congratulate.
I just want to say,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Use the microphone, please.
thank you to everybody and supporting me along my 4 years of high school. I really appreciate it. Couldn't have done it with anybody out here, especially this crew back here, you know. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody, and yeah, I appreciate it more than words can say.
Good luck at Mercyhurst.
And congratulations, Xavier. We're extremely proud of you. Next, we would like to congratulate Rebecca, Elizabeth, Natalie, and Addie on qualifying for the IHSA track and field meet in the 4x8 meter relay. They qualified for state after earning a relay time of 10 minutes, 17 seconds at the Class 3A St. Ignatius sectional. At state, they earned a PR of 10 minutes and 8 seconds. We're proud of this team, and we wish our graduating seniors, Rebecca and Addie, all of the best in their future endeavors. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here. They have prior commitments. Board members, that concludes our recognitions.
Happy summer. Thank you very much. Yeah, take a picture for sure. Under reports, there's no president's report, but I would remind members of the board that we do have a guest during closed session later today. So let's be mindful of her calendar as well. Dr. Skinkis.
Thank you. Superintendent's report for the June 9th board meeting, Senate Bill 637. I met with the zoo last week on Thursday regarding the previous draft sublease agreement and the proposed design concept for the field to the north of the high school. I will have more discussion with the board in closed session under the exemption of the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Tentative budget, the board will vote on this evening on the FY27 tentative budget. Again, words tentative. Dr. Smetana will provide more details on the tentative budget later in tonight's agenda. We'll also be updating the budget throughout the summer as state and federal revenue sources are solidified. The final budget will be presented for approval in September. The Alumni Achievement Award. The Alumni Achievement Award is something that started back in 1999-2000. Our last one was issued in 2017. So we're bringing back the Alumni Achievement Award. That's something that Ms. Molo and Ms. Fletcher are assisting me with. The recognition will take place during the homecoming week in September, and we'll be honoring, I believe, 3 distinguished alumni. And then we reconvene the committee that selects the group. So this year we selected myself and Dr. Freitas. We have 2 staff members who are also graduates, and Mike Reingruber and Jill McGrath. And then 2 alumni and their years are listed on the report, Joe Dvorak and Allison Cabay. The application to nominate somebody for the Alumni Achievement has been available on the website, and those applications are reviewed on an annual basis. The process is also laid out on the website.
So that's on the general website?
It's on our
Alumni.
district website, yes, where it
Okay.
says alumni.
Okay, so it's being kind of run by administration then?
No, we have
The committee's here.
The committee? but
six
the com-
people
Okay,
that select and review the applications.
so it's not another group, it's not like the foundation or anything
No.
like that? Okay,
No.
that's what I was kind of curious of. Oh, that's fun. And their pictures will go on the wall then, like they used
Correct.
to?
Correct.
Nice.
Superintendent Advisory Councils. Facilities Advisory Council met on June 2nd to discuss the solar projects, summer projects, future capital projects, and the quarterly review by Aramark. Finance Advisory Council met on June 4th to discuss the tentative budget, the closing of old activity accounts, and the business office's exploration of a new online payment system for school fees. No updates on personnel, staffing for the upcoming school year. There's several HR appointments on tonight's closed session agenda that will keep us on track for opening school and filling all of our vacant positions. Policy Advisory Council met on May 27th to review the press packet 121 as well as 6:280, which Ms. Haruska submitted a suggestion for revision. And we will update that tonight and look to discuss that for approval. And that concludes the superintendent's report for June 9th.
Any questions for Dr. Skinkis? No? Seeing none, Dr. Smetana, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Tonight I'll provide the board with financial information through the month of May, which represents 92% of our fiscal year. The monthly summary report shows the total operating revenue for the month was $848,469, with 69% from evidence-based funding, which is our state funding source, 19% from CPPRT, corporate personal property replacement tax, and 7% from local revenue. The total operating expenditures for the month were $2,452,927, with 79% towards salaries and benefits, 8% on transportation, and 5% on special education tuition. The monthly financial reports show that the summary of revenues that we've received 93.71% of our budgeted revenue for the year. This percent is lower to this time last year of almost 98% due to the timing of property tax collections. The summary of expenditures shows that we have spent 88.6% of our budgeted expenditures, which is tracking almost exactly where we were this time last year. There was a question submitted. What percent will we reach for our expenditures at the end of this fiscal year? I'm anticipating we'll be at 99% of our budgeted expenditures for the year. But in terms of revenue, I really don't have a way of knowing due to the timing of property tax. We're currently chasing about $1.6 million in revenue from property tax. If it comes in, we'll be close to where we predicted the budget to be, which would be a deficit of $550,000. If not, we'll have a larger deficit. So unfortunately, I can't predict the revenue, but I can tell expenditures will be right around 99%. There were some questions submitted on the statement of revenues and expenditures from board reports. I'm going to go over just a few of them briefly. The first question was, in looking at the revenues, there are some accounts that are significantly short of revenue: credit recovery, technology, pay-to-play athletics, which Phil Torres will report on later, pay to participate, and some fees. So what happens is the money comes into that registration account, which is on the next page of that report, and then every couple of months we reconcile and push money into the accounts where they need to go. So when Mr. Torres reports out tonight, you'll see pay-to-play athletics will be low, but that's because we haven't reconciled that account yet. We do that later this month. And then another question that was submitted was IDEA Room and Board. That's federal revenue, and we typically get a big payment in June, but again, we're kind of at the mercy of the federal government on that. And then Medicaid, looking at those two accounts together, we're on track from what we had budgeted. In regards to expenses on that report, there was one question about municipal retirement. There was one account that is significantly over percentage-wise by 253%. It's, I believe, a couple $1,000s. As I've previously said, that's just because we've had more classified staff members do extracurricular work, and that's where we take out their IMRF payment. but that account as a whole, that fund as a whole, will be under budget. Additionally, for the board, as always, I've included the student activity account report for the month of May. And then I have two additional pieces of information in the report tonight. The first is just for the board's information. It's the Facility Advisory Council met on June 2nd, and one thing that we do when we meet is go over the quarterly business review from Aramark, which provides our operations and maintenance service for us. So I've included that for the board's information. And then lastly, Dr. Skinkis hinted at this a little bit, but we are exploring the most effective and convenient way for parents to pay fees from both the parents and the district's perspective. So we currently are absorbing over $30,000 in credit card fees, and so in the future we're going to be looking at a different company to provide this service, as well as other fee structures, and I'll report back to the board once we have some additional information.
Kristen, if they do debit, does that still get the fee of a credit?
With our current company, they charge a fee for everything, so yes.
Okay.
They also charge a fee for ACH. One of the companies that we are looking to move to does not charge a fee for ACH, so it's really dependent on the company.
Okay.
And that
We've been
concludes-
charging a flat fee.
We have been charging a $3 fee, but the company has been charging us, the district, 4.05% plus 20 cents per transaction. We don't currently offer ACH for parents because there's a fee for that as well. It's 3.5%. The company we were looking at, ACH would be free, so parents would be able to pay student fees through their bank account without having any sort of fees. So that's some of the things
Bank
that
or
we're
checking, right.
correct. That's some of the things that we're looking at.
And the last time I saw this report with you, I think we were charged $47,000 and collected only $17,000.
Roughly, yes.
Roughly that.
Correct. And that concludes my report tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Smetana. Dr. Freitas.
Good evening again, honorable board members. Under teaching and learning, we're in June session. One of summer school has started. We have students, doing credit recovery for classes such as algebra, geometry, English, bio, applied chem physics, U.S. history, and world history. We offer U.S. government for rising seniors and health for rising juniors. Right now, we're also in the middle of our camp college, and I personally have visited these classrooms. It's exciting to see our students in the middle of summer, learning and researching universities, the FAFSA form, the common application, and how to write an effective essay. They're definitely getting a head start in their college journey. In the month of July, session 2 of summer school begins. That'll be credit recovery only. And at the end of July, we have Bridge to RV, a very popular class that focuses on a successful transition from 8th grade to high school. Students take a tour of the school, review the schedule, learn how to set goals, and importantly, they review executive functioning skills so they can be organized and be ready to go once high school starts. That's from 9 to 12 in room 223, and there's a modest fee of $100. Under school culture and operations, we're in the middle of residency. The portal did close on the 1st, but we are reopened for families as well. And the process is simple. Families are required to submit a lease, a tax bill, a mortgage statement, a residency attestation, and 3 common bills. Failure to complete the process will result in suspending the enrollment or pausing it. Once the residency documents have been approved, families will receive a link for in-person residency via email or parent score. So we make sure that we are on our board policy, check the documents, and then send the families in district the residency appointment. Cell phone procedures, we'll talk after these reports. On the 30th of July is when we have our student parking application. Notification for approval will be sent out on the 6th. Residency days are coming up, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and 29th. That's where we get to greet all our families, and I'm really proud of the team here because in person we review expectations, attendance expectations. We go over, the handbook, take their ID picture, they pay the fee. So we prepare families early, not only in the middle of the summer, but once everything starts with the open house, welcome back, and grade level assemblies. So families know from residency how to be successful at RB and how we do things here at RB as well. under activities and athletics, June we have a lot of camps going on. There's basketball, wrestling, lacrosse, softball, baseball, badminton. Myself and Mr. Turi, we've had the pleasure to attend those camps, talk to students and our coaches. We make sure we have a pulse, and they're great. The kids they're engaging. We're proud of our coaches that are giving their time over the summer to help our students. But camps are busy. A lot of our students are there. We also have band camps coming up, and in July we will have our co-ed cheer camp. That concludes my principal's report. If there are no questions, I would like to invite Mr. Phil Torres, our assistant principal of athletics, to give a spring athletic summary and pay the play reports. Mr. Torres?
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. We have the spring reports, but I did just find out, and hopefully we can maybe invite them in July. We found out today that we did get 3 all-state softball
Great.
players from our sectional run. Coach Gerald let me know this morning, so it wasn't worth it to even try to engage those kids and be like, hey, you want to come tonight to a board meeting?
Sure, it's 90 degrees out.
So we are going to work with Kylie Fletcher and try to get them out to a future board meeting here.
Thank you.
Just the timing of it, of when Coach Gerald found out. But they had a phenomenal season. As you see, we did have a couple questions. I'll get to those, I guess, first. Seeing the percentages, that could be of the pay to play and like of what was assigned and what was actually collected. We can work on providing that. There is a document that I can work with the business office on. It wouldn't necessarily have the percentages, but it would have the fees assigned, the fees collected, and the fees outstanding. So we could potentially look to add that chart in the.
And my only caution is we don't want to get into identifiable information,
Yeah.
right? If it's a small group, we don't want to know that.
And it's not. It wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be. It's not broken down by like name or student.
Right.
It's just general by sport what we've collected. So there is potential we could look at doing that. And then the spring sports, obviously compared to last year, I think it was about 25 that it went down. In any given year, there's kind of a natural ebb and flow. Some sports may have a heavy senior class, and when that goes, the numbers actually come down. Obviously, if you look at this, there is a half of that 25 is with badminton. Part of that was last year we had like 85 girls out for badminton. It was a huge spike. It's not sustainable to keep 85 girls when there's only 3 levels. And so they did have to do cuts for the first time in maybe ever or a long time with badminton. And unfortunately, we're seeing a spike of some students when they hear the word cuts or tryouts, they like freak out. And then they're like, I'm not even going to put myself out there. I'm not even going to try. And so I think partially once the word got out that, oh man, they even do cuts in badminton, we saw a dip of girls even willing to go out for it. I did see that as well. There was a couple students that with softball, they kind of were getting freaked out because they heard there could be cuts. We're seeing a small spike of that word cuts is kind of sending shivers down some kids' spines. But I'm not overall, in terms of the dip in numbers, it's kind of still a natural ebb and flow of it. They still have more than enough for 3 levels in badminton. That's not a cause for concern. And overall, if you look at the kind of 5-year average, we're still up 11 over the 5-year average of 544. So, and being at 555. You can see the updated fees that were collected there. Are there any other questions? Because I think I get a re-return with Mr. Manning here on the engagement report, so.
You do. I think you
Any
answered the
questions
ones
from
that were
anyone? Yeah.
submitted.
No?
No, I just
Thank
thought
you.
maybe next year, talking to other parents, I think we're very reasonable with our participation fee for the sports. I don't know when you're with different conferences, possibly next year, how do we compare to other schools? I mean, I've talked to parents who are paying $1,000, so I think we're pretty reasonable.
They're kind of over the map, and I would say we are very much right in the middle and
Okay.
very reasonable in terms of our fees. I could try to get some updated data through our AD association, and see. Obviously, they have to open the email and engage in the survey, but I can get more updated data from other schools.
I would
across the
suggest,
area.
Ms. Ruska, I mean, that's a budget question, right? So it would come through as a finance discussion if we're looking to raise revenue from that as an aspect.
I'm not looking to raise revenue, but it is a budget question. So maybe if you get that information by interacting with other coaches to share it when we do talk about pay to play, because we always wonder, are we fair in our pricing?
And we do approve that fee schedule annually.
Yeah, but it would be nice to know how we compare with other schools when we approve it. I don't think we've ever seen a comparison when we approved it.
I think if the board is looking for that information at a future date, that would be a good board request to make then, I think.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Yep.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, we'd like to invite Mr. Manning, Dean Hackers, and Dean Weinberg to give our second semester coaching climate report.
Good evening.
Good evening. Congratulations on graduation.
It was a great day.
That's good.
Okay, good evening. Tonight, the Deans and I will present data on attendance, mental health days, discipline, suspension, and then following this report, we'll get into some data related to engagement in our extracurricular activities. So overall, in regards to attendance, we finished the year at 92.66%, which was, we'll take it, but it was the highest mark since 22, but up just slightly from last year at 92.24. So still some work to do there, but that's just a trend that's statewide, where all schools are hovering around that 91, 92, 93% mark. The deans are going to present further data here on house. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the 92.6, we're proud of that. We're anticipating continuing to climb over the next few years with some communication initiatives that we're working on Kylie Fletcher with. But you'll see that, we kind of trended as normal in those months. You start out very strong in January, even despite the cold, and then you trend off as the weather gets nice, right? So we ended, our monthly in May was 91.55. And then if you take a look at the semester breakdown, again, we're kind of on par with how we have been in years past. Semester 2 is historically a lower percentage of ADA than first semester is. Mental health days, we are seeing a little bit of a dip in those. As normal, our seniors are taking the bulk of those days. They do use those for a variety of reasons. We continue our student services check-ins with students who are taking those mental health days, but is it possible that a family could be using a mental health day for a college visit or something like that? Sure, right? So that's why we see those numbers up slightly for seniors. Again, we are seeing a dip in those, the number of students taking those days. So in 24-25, 487 students took mental health days. That's down to 450 for this school year. So a little bit of a dip in those mental health days. If you flip over, we do see a little bit of a spike in our personal days compared to last year, and the number of students who are taking those. Again, that's a coding, could be a coding issue, right? So we could have parents calling in vacations as personal, doctor's appointments as personal. It's all a matter of how the family calls those days in. And again, you'll see those drop in the mental health days as well there. We are continuing our communication initiatives for attendance with Parent Square. Alberto and I actually have an app on our phone now that allows us to dial out as an RB number. So, after hours, if we have families who aren't able to, talk to us during the day, we've made 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock phone calls to families just to talk through whatever attendance issues may be occurring. We are regularly texting parents and families on Parent Square. Students too, hey, I noticed you're not here, it's second period, can you get here? You've got a math test, come on in. So we do use our communication tools effectively. We plan on continuing the use of that into next year. Myself and Pushpa Winbush, who oversees or works with us on MTSS, we will be meeting with Kylie Fletcher to get some additional communication out through Parent Square to families in the form of nudge letters and quarterly updates. So.
I don't know how many times I've, in making a phone call after hours, I forgot to dial *67 and hang up right away.
So the app has been great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Before we get into that, one thing we're going to do at residency is we're going to hand each family out a magnet that has the school calendar in there, the days off, and a QR code to just hit the attendance line or on Skyward. So that'll be a nice, like, you know, present thing that they can see in their family room or whatever in their kitchen that they can utilize for our school calendar. That might help when they're scheduling. I know there's a question about doctor's appointments. It's one of the things that we talk about. We do have a dedicated table just to speak about attendance at residency, so that's going to be one of our points of emphasis there going forward. So, and then also we're utilizing some of our technology too. So the technology platform, Panorama, we utilize for intervention. It's linked in with Skyward. Some of the cool features is expanded data that it's able to decipher and filter, and those are just very helpful in our small team conversations that the deans are in with student services. So that's all good and great. There's a lot of cool technology that's coming that's going to help us cut down the time that we hand count things in order to present that to the counselors and get more of a robust intervention plan for kids. So that's on their way.
All right, suspensions. So totally, we see that we're at 35 for second semester. Went up from last year, but still lower from our 23-24 numbers. And then if you look at it by grades, breakdown by grades, it's the freshmen and sophomores who are with the highest numbers, right? So similar to the data with the mental health numbers, seniors and juniors are taking more those days. Here we got freshmen and sophomores, who are probably still not acclimated to high school or BHS or whatever, getting in some trouble. But still, we're at 35. Breakdown by race. Again, we're pretty much around the same numbers depending on the total population of students. Hispanic, we're at 2.8%. That's 20 students out of 714. White, 7 out of 736, 9%. And then 11.7% Black African American. And that number is similar to the one from 23-24. I think some of however, those were coded. So, like, if you see the other, which is probably multiple races, that number went up from 23-24, and then so the number is the same. So, some of those students might have been in a different category. If we turn the page, the specific breakdowns, drug possession, we had 14, and that's THC for the most part. Fighting, we had 6 this year, 6 total students this semester. And then if you look at disruptions or bullying, intimidation, and then you go down to inappropriate, non-compliant behavior, those numbers seem to have flip-flopped from last year to this year, which could be, how teachers are coding the disruption. Again, we usually deal with low-level referrals, and then so these are the ones that reach our office, so.
Was that higher first semester too, do you recall? Or just as a second semester situation?
I think that the way that people were coding it, it might be the same. It might look the same for that first semester data, but I can't be 100% sure. But I think those numbers flip. So,
Did people get training on correct coding? Because I think that we also don't want inconsistencies in how these things are presented.
The August Institute Day, we do work with teachers on, this is what would fall into this category, this is what would fall into this one. And so we will brief them again in August on coding that.
Yeah, and that's with like specific, hey, scenario A, this is what you would mark it as, or scenario B, mark it as this or whatever. Notice no gang related suspensions. Theft, we had 1. No weapons. As we go to the last page here, some of the stuff that we've already implemented are practices, locker room supervision, security rotations based on needs. So, depending on the passing period, depending on those areas like concessions, that math hallway, any big intersections, we're very intentional on where we place security and their rotation. We're still working with Tapestry, of course, our weekly small team meetings with student services. Our 510 day absence letter that Kara, she's on top of that, man. people are getting a lot of communication for attendance, for discipline, whatever it may be. They're getting either through Skyward, through email, or through Parent Square. And Parent Square is nice because it's like a text message, you know, which is kind of weird to me. Something I get a response, and we know they're getting it immediately, right? So it's almost like you're texting with the parent.
Aren't we moving away from Skyward, though, and emphasizing Parent Square? I thought that was the intention.
Yes, and so
Okay.
that is part of that collaboration with Kylie
Yeah.
Fletcher and Pushbo Winbush, is that all of our attendance communication by the end of next school year will be streamlined onto Parent Square instead of Skyward.
So I think that was a concern from, I think, some
Ties
members of the
directly
board.
into board SMART goal
Yeah.
number
Yes,
2 about.
Skyward's very
optimizing
funky for
Parent Square.
communication, so
Yeah.
Parent Square will take all of our attendance communication next year.
Are
Perfect, thank you.
parents responding to Parent Square?
That's what you just said, yeah.
Yes, parents are responding?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's great.
It's almost, it's, you know.
Kids are
it's
as
like
well.
a text message. So
Yeah.
Okay.
We know they're getting it, you know, whatever the message would be. So that's, if you see the new initiatives, that would be our number one there, right, with the immediate feedback. You want to talk about the 1520 letter?
Yeah, so in addition to the 5 and 10 state mandated letters, we included a 15 and a 20-day absence letter this year as well. You know, we have families experiencing all kinds of circumstances related to attendance, so it really is just a letter to say, hey, your child has missed this many days, just so you're aware. If there's anything we can help with, please reach out. We want to be a support. We increased family conferences significantly for attendance, and that includes our home visits. We were up, I don't have numerical data for that, but we were up a significant amount on home visits, and having families come on in for those attendance meetings as well. Issuing school refusal needs surveys, just to see where kind of a family and a student is at with that. Alternatives to in-school suspension for excessive tardiness. In lieu of an in-school suspension or an ADA, we are utilizing the library after school now so that students can make up those minutes of learning lost in the morning, as opposed to just, you know, spending the whole day in school and maybe not using that time as wisely as they should. So we are hopeful next year with the additional initiative in the library during lunch periods of having that place staffed with teachers who can work with students who've missed that time, that we can use that as well. Again, using that panorama data, and then institute presentations to staff on classroom behavior, you know, related to drugs, just kind of behavior in general, supports and referrals.
We had about 10% of our students use that after-school library detention this semester alone. So a lot of kids used it. I don't know how many used the tutors that are available from Monday to Thursday, but they're there, right? So if we see an increase in that, I think it'll be an easy transition to, hey, I might need help with math. I'm already here for an hour. Might as well take advantage of that.
Get some work done. Get some work.
Yeah.
Any more
Questions?
questions?
There was one about just the type of drugs that we're seeing, and you related that to THC. We do have vape sensors in all of our bathrooms and our locker room areas. So when those go off, they are rerouted to security, who then are consistently checking immediately following a vape sensor alert. So because of that, we see a little bit of a rise. So you know, if we're really consistent on it, hopefully those go down. I think last year was a little bit of an anomaly, but it's because we're being consistent with it and we're following up on those. And so this year it's been a little bit of a different intervention based on the new law, where it's more no double jeopardy anymore, but we're really like honing in on how we can support best that student. Obviously there's going to be some administrative consequences there and potentially some athletics or activity consequences, but it's more like, okay, how do we stop this behavior going forward? So they've been doing a good job. The deans are very visible. They don't hide behind their desks. They're in all of our lunch periods. They extend their days after hours, not needed, but they do it because they're in the best interest for kids here, communicating with families and things like that. So it's not just the nudge letters, although we like to put that on there, and the things that we communicate with. It's more the in-person and a lot of the stuff that goes unnoticed that these guys do to help bring these numbers down, which are been low for a couple of years now, thanks to their work.
So you said it was just the THC?
A lot of the THC in gummy form too, as well. And so at our recent institute, that was the other question, we did a kind of an overview of the types of THC products that potentially students could get their hands on and bring into the school. Along with that presentation, I just gave an overview of what we see here in our office as far as behavior in general. 85% are low level. So 85% are going to be like classroom disruption, something that the staff can manage in their classroom, and they just write that up so we see that as a document, but more or less, we're really only dealing with what you see here as far as like the THC and then the occasional fight here or there, which our fight numbers were pretty phenomenal. And that's just, again, because of the consistent visibility with the deans and our security team, locker room supervision, making sure we have 2 people down there, not only the wellness teacher, but security on the other end has really helped. I don't think we had one instance in our locker rooms this year.
And then I have a follow-up question for Laura. Laura, the question you submitted, you stated direct possession is up, albeit still very low considering our population. Can you clarify that? What did
We
you
have
mean by that?
1,600 kids, and it was only like 14 incidents. And so that's why I had asked, is there a particular, and I had a suspicion that gummies, because, they're tasty, chewy, available, might be coming in.
Aren't they?
That's why I was afraid, But, we have 1,600 kids and 14, that's phenomenal, like you
Thank you
said.
for clarifying that.
Yeah.
We're gonna host a parent session on this,
Yeah.
Parent U in the fall. But
Yeah.
one of the things right now is that there's no oversight in regards to what the packaging looks like, so the kids can bring in something that looks like Jolly Ranchers, and it's not. And so that's what we really wanted to get in front of the staff, so that they're aware of that as well. It's just not just candy potentially. So
Thank you.
keep everyone's awareness up.
Thank you, Dave. Good job.
I have one question too, that I did submit. On the activity participation, you have a robust list there. You have the continued Upstate 8 Leadership Conference, the continued Illinois Student, you have the spring and fall activity fairs. You have that whole list there. Were there any aha moments, or did you, from all that, because we, as board members, we're looking for data or monitoring, were there any finds that you thought were, oh, this is a good one, we're going to implement that?
Yeah. So as far as just moving into the engagement report.
Yeah, let's have Phil come back up, though. That's why we're moving into the next report. That's why we didn't answer that question yet.
Okay, because it was part of this report,
Right.
so that's why I wasn't sure if you were going to leave. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay.
So very successful year, 77%.
Good job, Karen, Alberta.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both.
77% is the highest since I've been here, and so well above our board goal of 75. So you're looking at around 1,260 students are participating in at least one sport or activity. And so as far as like the aha moment, our freshman and sophomore classes held at 82% participation or engagement, which is great. But what I think really is like a great thing about RB is the amount of offerings that we have. We're almost getting to the point where we have to scale back and say, okay, let's maybe fit this one in here, because we're diluting ourselves so much that it doesn't work. If we have something that fits within an area, like the coding, and then girls who code, and then another group wants to do a coding group. Like, let's put these guys together and girls together to make one big club. So we're looking at different options like that. But overall, baking and pastry has been a big hit. Coffee and tea has been a huge hit. And so things like that has really driven interest for students, and they're able to work out their schedules. I don't know how someone would do it. But we have a lot of 3 sport athletes and students and activities. Our musicals, our fall plays, just the amount of students that are involved in that, whether it's on the stage or the tech side, what have you. So it was a great year for that. Total sport was 948 solely, and then 541 in activities. Both is 229, and then what's really great is our non-participants went from 470 last year to 372 this year. So things are in place and working, and we're going to continue to see what we can do else. Hopefully we can get that up to 80% next year. That would be my goal going forward here.
Do you find that when students are not engaged, maybe they have other responsibilities? Are you getting some of that feedback that they have to babysit their siblings or work or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's either going to be family or work, yeah.
Okay.
And typically also, it's the junior, senior, upperclassmen that have those obligations that have impacted a little bit. So, and that's where you're seeing the 372.
Yeah.
A couple of our track ladies couldn't be here tonight because they were working.
Okay.
And being around in the community, I see them in the mall, at the fast food restaurants. Our kids are working, and I see them, and
Right.
they tell me that I wish I can do it, but I want to buy a car, I want to buy new clothes, where I have to pay my fees, right? In
Yeah.
school, and I'm like, hey, work whatever's for you, but just know activities are always open for you.
Nice.
I just, to point out a couple of data points, we had 101 two-sport athletes and 32 three-sport athletes with this. So we're starting to see a trend.
Is that a record number? It might be.
Back.
Yeah.
So, and that's a credit to our coaches engaging kids and saying, yes, go out for that other sport. Yes, go do that. I don't want to see you go away from me for a season, right? So that's a kudos and credit to the coaches of engaging the kids, working together to manage, especially right now is the hectic time because during the school year they're separated amongst their seasons. But right now everybody's fighting for the same camp time for those students. So they are working together and allowing the kids to be able to do both or all three and make it work with their schedules.
Are there any more questions?
I believe those were all
Okay.
Those
were
are
submitted.
cell phone. You want to leave Dave up here for the cell phone?
Yeah, Dave.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Mr. Torres.
Leave him by him. He can handle this. So as you know, the governor, legislator, the governor had made a big push about a cell phone policy. It's not necessarily a cell phone ban. What it is it's a ban during classroom or instruction time. Our cell phone policy was ahead of the curve before this legislation got passed, but we started to hear some feedback from our teachers that we needed to revisit this.
Correct.
So we actually had our building committee with our union committee, our op culture and operations.
Yes.
Started to put this together in the spring, Mr. Mannon and the deans. And so we will have an administrative procedure to be compliant with the new law for next school year. And I'm going to turn it over to them to touch on it.
Okay, so previously we had that three-colored, green, red, yellow type procedure in place. What we saw through that was a little bit of an inconsistent practice from the classroom side. And so, just hearing comments from our building staff in the union, they really wanted just a consistent front approach, and so that's what it's going to be going forward. And I just was at an AP conference today with several of the local APs and several of the high schools in the area, and it's the same approach from every school. So this isn't uncommon on what we're moving to, but it's basically going to be an instructional environment. It's going to be a no phone, no electronics area. And so when students come in, they'll have to put their phone in the holder, the classroom holder there for the entire period. And that includes if they go out for a restroom break or things like that. And so it's a total disconnect, which includes watches, glasses, things like that, just so they can focus in on what they need to do in the classroom. So we're going to turn towards, the direct instruction, utilization of the Chromebook and things like that. But let's get that temptation of checking my phone and checking what app's going off, out of their hands, and just let's get back to what we need to do in the classroom setting. So I think this is going to be a great, consistent front, and it'll help eliminate any of the questions that may, present themselves to the staff. So.
Well, Mr. Mann, I want to thank you, our coaching operations committee, Mr. Baum, Mr. Kirby, our union, Mr. Huggison, Mr. Grieve. We listened to our staff, we surveyed them, and we just wanted to enhance. As a superintendent said, we've always been aware of the impact of cell phones, and what they can do to distract students. Again, they come in the classroom, they put it in the pocket and away. They'll be able to use it during passing periods and at lunch, right? The free time. But when they're learning, they will not be on their cell phones. So we're compliant with the law, and I'm excited that our staff, we all came together to create this. So everyone has bought in, so to speak. Now we'll see how it goes. We'll re-inform our students and our families during residency, or re-inform during open house and welcome back night, and we hope that everyone supports in this. We're not taking electronics away. Students have the Chromebooks, but they can put away their cell phone while they're learning. So in a nutshell, Madam President, that's our cell phone procedures.
Well, I think it's not. I was going to compliment you, the administration team, and union leadership, and everyone coming together on this. It was very much a collaborative affair,
Yes.
and we heard about it when we met with the union last month, and so I think it's positive because the state law itself doesn't go into effect until the following school year, so we're ahead of the curve on that. That's good to know.
And there'll be some guiding procedures that we
Yeah.
have within there too, but we'll explain that all to parents as they come through at residency, and then be very have that as a header on the website as well, and have some areas for people to go to for that. But I think it's going to make a great difference, and we may see some increases in the DLO numbers.
I was wondering how you would code those exactly, right? Speaking of coding, right?
Yeah, I was on the Illinois Association School Board Advocacy call this week, and they mentioned several of the bills that passed and didn't pass, and they mentioned that one. So I know the Press Plus packet will be sending a sample policy soon, even though we've got the year, to implement into our policies.
Questions, comments from anyone?
Thank you
down
very
there?
much. Thank you, David.
Thank
Good
you
job.
guys for your leadership. We
Good
appreciate
job,
it.
everybody, tonight.
Thank you. We did have some FOIA requests.
Two FOIA requests, basically looking for executed contracts, agreements, purchase orders related to procurement documents, one from Suzanne Park and one from Natalie Federack.
No questions were submitted on those.
Nope.
Visitor statements. Are you here for a visitor statement? Yes.
Am I the only one?
You are. So I'm going to read a short statement while you get situated at the table, and then I'll ask you to introduce yourself and give us your name. So the Board of Education welcomes and encourages the participation of its citizens in the business of the school district. There are 2 points in the meeting where visitor statements are scheduled. Citizens are welcome to raise questions or make comments at either one. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual and cannot be combined. Please note the Board of Education will not answer questions or engage in dialogue during visitor comments. If a person would like additional time to address the board, such a request should be submitted in writing 24 hours before the meeting to the superintendent. So please introduce yourself, and Dr. Skinkis will keep a timer.
I'll give you a wave at like 30 seconds left.
Okay, yeah, that way you don't have to do it.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time right now. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Violeta. I am a culinary arts instructor, and I do presentations through all of the libraries in Illinois. I do cooking and baking classes, but I'm also a program coordinator at Catholic Charities. We recently opened a new building in Summit. I am from Summit, and we're offering programs to our community and all Cook County. So these programs are, we're providing the food pantry, the basic needs room, which is hygiene products, and also the community meal that it's every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. We partner with some parishes to provide a meal for our community on Wednesdays. The purpose of me being here is because I recently found out that you have a culinary lab, and I'm just seeking probably the possibility of being partners with you, with your students, to give them opportunities to have a hands-on experience at our facility. I would like to invite you for a tour, especially the person that is in charge of the culinary arts program, to come and visit our facility. We have a brand new kitchen with ovens and warmers and refrigerator, freezers. And so we just opened March 30th. A couple of the partners, they cook there, but others, they cook the food and just bring it to the community. So they are different possibilities that I'm just thinking about your students, because sometimes they wanna have their experience. And if this is something that maybe the students will be interested for the next year, I think that'll be a good thing, because they will help the community. They will have the opportunity to do a hands-on experience cooking either at our facility, or they can prepare it here and probably bring it to the community. So it's called Summit Community Center. Yeah, so that's the main purpose I'm here for the culinary arts program.
Great.
Thank you. Can you make sure to leave your name and number?
Yes.
With Dr. Freitas.
Dr. Freitas, the principal, will be able to set you up.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I'll leave everything. I'll leave the volunteer, because we also have volunteer opportunities
Yep,
for residents.
we'll turn that over to our student services department for
Perfect.
community service hours as well. So that would be your contact.
Yes, perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Violeta. What's your name? Hector. Okay.
Moving on to, thank you very much.
Thank you.
To consent agenda. We had no questions. The approval of minutes, please, Ms. Gaska.
The Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois takes the following action on the listed consent agenda items. Approves minutes from the meetings held on May 12, 2026, open and closed sessions, as presented in the June 9, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved. We have a second?
A second.
Second from Mr. Novak. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Moving on to life safety, capital improvement, sustainability, and update on the solar panels.
Yes.
Please.
So as I previously stated, in order for the solar panel project to comply with the International Building Code 2024, there were 2 design changes that needed to occur. The first design change was to decrease the size of the system by 90 modules, which are solar panels, in order to comply with the stricter tornado load and snow drift. That decreased the cost of the project by $95,061. We were obviously decreasing the amount of panels that we needed to buy. And then the second design change that goes with that is that we also need, I would need to approve Olson Roofing to install the mechanical attachments. So there needs to be more mechanical attachments in order to comply with the tornado loads and snow drifts. So we were planning on some, but this would require an additional 86, and that work is $36,450. So when these 2 design changes go hand in hand, so together they result in a savings for the overall project of $58,611. During installation, there will be some pull testing of fasteners to ensure that the fasteners achieve the required depth at certain roof locations. This was going to be one additional cost. I found out today that Verde Solutions, our solar company, will be absorbing that cost during installation, so that will not be an additional cost. I also found out the project is set to begin June 30th with mobilization on June 26th and June 29th. So shortly I will have a more updated schedule so we can see exactly when our projected completion date is, and I will share that out with the board when I have that. There were some questions submitted in regards to solar. So the cost changes obviously are within the approved budget because we are saving money in the project. We will have our construction manager there when we do the installation of the fasteners and the testing of them. And then there were 2 questions that were in the bills but were tied to Verde Solutions, so I would like to mention them here. So in the bills, you saw 2 large payments to Verde Solutions. So how the contract worked is our initial payment was a 20% down payment, which we paid last fiscal year. And now there are 2 payments that are going tonight for approval. One is $470,204. That's 40% of the overall project cost. That is for the payment for all of the solar panels and some of the equipment. And then the second payment that's going is the 30%, the $352,653. And that is for when the project is substantially complete, we'll pay those. So the 40% will be given to them right away, and then the 30% check will be held until the project is substantially complete. And then we will have one more payment of about 10%. It'll be a little less because we'll account for the savings in the final payment, and that will hit next fiscal year when the project is considered finally complete. We've done a walkthrough and it's operational and all of that. So that will likely come, my guess would be August or September, and that would probably be around $100,000. And then lastly for the board, I provided the chart just so you could see the difference between the old system that was initially designed and then the new system. It's very similar to where we were initially, just some small changes.
Are those new mechanical fasteners paid out of the first payment or the second payment? That are offsetting the savings?
We were invoiced for the original project amount, and then the final 10% will all be reconciled at the end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's not like a third party we have to engage to purchase that. It's still coming through them. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Santana. Do you want to go right into the tentative budget, Lynn?
Sure. Yeah.
Tentative budget? You ready to go right into that?
Yep. So the tentative budget has been updated with May 31st actuals. So there's obviously still 1 month remaining of the current fiscal year, so some items are not finalized in the tentative budget. Some of you may remember we were at a small surplus the last time I did the budget. Now we're at a small deficit of $223,913. This is going to constantly change as the budget is finalized. You know, if we do get more EBF money, which we won't find out until August, then we'll be at a surplus. If not, you know, we will likely have a deficit for next year. We will post after. So at tonight's meeting, I'm asking the board to approve the budget so we can spend money in July. After approval tonight, I will post the tentative budget on the website, and I will, anytime after a board meeting we update that budget, I will then update it on the website as well. The Finance Advisory Council met on June 4th to review the budget, and if anyone is looking for a place to start, looking at the budget, which is several pages, I would encourage you to look at the summary of revenue and expenditures. That pulls out all of the really big expenditures and revenue that really impacts the budget. You probably will not see a budget updated at the July meeting due to the timing of closing out of the fiscal year and the 4th of July holiday. If we can get it done, we will certainly do it, but we rely on the Township Treasurer as well. If not, it'll be pretty close to being final in August, and then we'll have the budget hearing and approval in September.
If you were going to point out the main page that the main 3 pages the board and the community usually focus on are page 2 of the budget, which is the large revenue assumptions.
Correct. So in
page
board
3
book
are
it's
their
page,
large.
it's
Okay,
page
I'm sorry.
97. In board book it's page 97, 98, and 99. On the budget document that will be on the website, it would be page 2, 3, and 4.
And we do
First
not
three
show the
pages.
black boxes because
I'm not sure the black boxes because we don't have the beginning fund balances. Once we get those as of July 1st, we will update those because then we'll have a better projection of where the end fund balance will be at this time in 2027.
And are there any significant, well, we kind of covered this though in May, and I don't think there were any questions. Nothing significant you want to point out in revenue or expenditures, because some of that's
Well,
still.
are there any
being determined.
changes from the May presentation?
Nothing
Maybe that's
significant.
way to flag it.
The major difference in terms of why we had about almost a $400,000 swing from last time to this time, and I would say looking at the drivers, a little over 300,000 of that was special education, between special education tuition and special education transportation. Those actuals are coming in higher, and so as a result, for right now, I updated the budget expenditures for next year. The other like 80,000 came from little accounts here and there, looking at kind of where we were coming in budget for this year.
Thank you, Dr. Smetana.
You're welcome.
Any more questions on that? Seeing none, I think we can move forward with adopting the tentative budget now.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves the tentative budget for fiscal year 27 as presented in the June 9, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved. Can we have a second from Mr. Durkin? And we need a roll call, please.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Thank you, as always, for your work on that. We'll look for the year end as we get near. Press Plus Policy Issue 121. I have such a hard time saying
The
that.
board's had this in the packet now for a few weeks. The only thing attached are policies where we're recommending slightly different changes, and those are highlighted in blue. As you can see from the requirements, Board of Education Secretary, like in policy 2:220, it just talks about how the agendas will be set and how the secretary will be responsible for the time, the place, and the posting of the meetings. The posting on the district website, again, remove the word superintendent, put Board of Education Secretary. Questions, no, we're using the default. We have been using participation and suggestions from the agenda from the community. That procedure has been working, so we're going with the default. So there's no reason to amend that. The committee, or the Curriculum Advisory Council felt we were in a good place. Quorum or participation, performance of act. I mean, these are just some of the highlights from the IASB. The other question, again, no, we went with the default on those. Does the board member take a roll call vote on action items? No, we do not. We only take action, a roll call vote on items that result in money or to open or close a meeting. In the event that someone would like to request a special roll call, we have done that in the past. We do not want a roll call on every vote.
I think Ms. Ruska has a
I think a
question.
nice addition to one of those is for our military, if there was a military board member that they needed to call in.
That was a statutory change, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a nice addition.
Agreed.
On page 2:250, we have a District Freedom of Information Officer. So we just deleted the who may be himself or herself. The green stuff is from IASB, so we're recommending the rest of that be adopted. 4:10, the superintendent or designated school business official. And then we just updated that language, so the school business official. Right now, we have an assistant superintendent who handles school business, HR, and compliance. But that could change, so you want to leave your policies general, so we put school business official. And then I believe that may be the last one. There was that policy that Ms. Haruska sent a suggestion in for and was shared. We went through it again with the advisory council, and the advisory council still feels that it does not track to change the language of the policy. It should just still be the superintendent or designee, which then could mean administrative team or assigning it to a different group of individuals. That's how it's referenced throughout the policy. And I will let Ms. Zalis, Mr. Williams is not here, but I could let them speak on what they felt when they went through the policy.
Well, I would say we certainly discussed the whole packet and went through all the IASB changes, and then Ms. Ruska had added that 6:280 as some potential language that was circulated in our Friday update. So we did look at that, and we came to the conclusion that that would deviate from the remainder of the entire plus policy packet, where it's either superintendent standalone or superintendent or designee. This would insert a third option that would then not be consistent throughout the policy manual. And then in support of that was the definition of superintendent is a statutory definition, where the superintendent is designated as the person with the responsibility to manage all of these functions here at the district. So we felt it was not necessary to make any changes beyond what IASB had recommended previously.
When I had spoke with them, that, our policies are our policies, and they said districts can modify. Some districts make many modifications, other districts don't even touch them. They get the legal updates and they just go with that. So the reason why I submitted that, the superintendent along with the administrative, his or her administrative team, was because we made a qualitative change from when Dr. Skinkis came on as our superintendent. And we now have an administrative team that works on the students' behalf and learning. We didn't always have that. And so I thought to have our grading policy, there are different grading policies, there are different ways to score students, other districts use. I thought it would behoove us that it would be not only the superintendent, but it would be that whole team that would look at something like that. So that's why I made that suggestion.
Well, I appreciate your time. Does anyone else have any comments or questions on that particular policy?
Do you have a motion for approval, then this will be
Yeah, I
the
think we
second.
need a motion on the policy 121, which includes the changes you see presented tonight.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves Press Plus Policy Issue 121 as presented in the June 9, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So moved. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Novak, and we do need a roll call. I'm sorry, this isn't all in favor. These are not fiduciary. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this moves forward. Thank you. And we will have a larger packet, I think you made this point too, Laura, as some of the AI policies come through from the state, probably this summer or this fall. I think we should all be expecting a fair amount of reading on that front. Payment of bills.
There was one additional question. It was in on board packet, page 180. It was for Parker Cromwell Healthcare. This is an expense for when our nurse is out. We have a substitute nurse come in, and this is the agency we use.
Any additional questions from anyone? No? Seeing none? Ms. Gasko?
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves the payment of bills as presented in the June 9, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So moved in a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin, and we need a roll call, please.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Thank you. Final district calendar for 2025-2026. We've had this for a couple of
Yes,
months.
this is a formality just to show that we submit this to the state to let them know that the calendar the board approved last January or December was actually the calendar that was executed and that there were no emergency days taken. There was one question submitted, not in attendance. That's a day that the district is giving off to either the students or staff. It's not a formal state or federal holiday.
So I know I asked that question, it's not included,
Not in attendance would be like the prom day we give off.
okay.
Not in attendance would be like
Christmas
the
break.
Friday in spring. That usually tends to fall near Good Friday.
Is that something that is scheduled, or is
Yes.
that kind of like an ad hoc?
No, it's it's on the calendar that
On the
we've
calendar the
approved.
board approved.
Okay.
For the last, yeah.
Okay. I
Nothing's
was trying to
changing how
place
we've
where
been
that
doing
not in school is falling in. Okay.
Any additional questions? I think we can go ahead and approve, please, Ms. Gasko.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves the final 2025-2026 school calendar with the emergency days of May 22, 26, 27, 28, and 29 eliminated to be submitted to the Illinois State Board of Education as presented in the June 9, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So moved. Need a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Transfer of interest from debt service to the education fund. Ms. Dr. Spatana.
Annually, the district transfers interest earned from the debt service fund to the education fund, as that's our largest expenditure and in the most need of additional resources. The amount of interest earned this fiscal year in debt service was $136,004, and so I'm recommending that the Board of Ed approves the transfer of that amount from debt service to the Ed fund.
This is fairly perfunctory, so thank you for handling. Any questions from anyone? Seeing none,
The
please.
Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the transfer of interest earnings in the debt service fund to the education fund as presented in the June 9, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So moved. We have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Novak. We need a roll call, please.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes. The next item, facility rental agreement.
You know, the district, something that we started a long time ago, we rent out the facility, and we also try to make this a community hub, as we talked about earlier with our sports camps, and Dr. Freitas referenced in his report. There's always things going on, but we do have a lot of organizations, whether it's travel baseball programs or basketball programs or community groups that do rent our facility to host their events or to use our facilities, and so this is a way to recoup and maintain our facilities. The board usually approves this every June so that July 1 it can take effect. And then about every 2 years we look at the financials to make sure we're consistent with the fees we're charging with local high schools so that we're consistent. This year was more of a legal update to make sure all of our terms and insurance regulations, hold harmless and things like that are in place. And so we went through this at the facility as advisory, and I'm asking for your approval tonight.
I would also like to make a note, I put in the background, our legal counsel as well as our liability insurance is recommending higher insurance limits. However, we will need to make some exceptions to accommodate maybe a little league baseball team that may financially not be able to provide those limits. Any exception to an insurance limit will be made solely by the district's liability insurance. Will not be done by the administration.
What's our
Wouldn't those
current limit?
be included in the fee, in the insurance, or does each individual entity pay their own
They have
insurance?
to
Each
show
individual
proof.
entity has to have their own insurance.
Oh, they have to have their own insurance?
Correct. And so we're
legal-
requiring higher limits.
Okay.
We do recognize that there may be some local community groups that might not be able to meet those higher limits.
Okay.
Any exception will be made by the district's liability
Okay.
insurance, not by the administration.
Are those higher limits reflected in this
Correct.
draft?
I think we used to ask for $1 million certificate of insurance, now we're asking for $2 million. That's the biggest one.
5 for an umbrella.
Okay.
Okay.
This is for approval this evening? Is this
Yes.
the goal? Okay. Any additional questions on this matter? I'm glad it was updated and reviewed by legal.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves facility use agreement as presented in the June 9, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved. Can we have a second?
A second.
Second for Mr. Novak, and we should do a roll call on that, please.
Ms. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
The activity count for the class of 20, I can't even say it.
30.
Someone else say it.
This is an annual request for the new incoming freshman class. We usually do it in the summer so that we are prepared for the freshman class to fundraise.
Like, no issues with this. Can we go ahead?
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the activity account for the class of 2030 as presented in the June 9, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved. Can we have a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Durkin. I need a roll call, please.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Westcott?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
And moving on to the final item here, closing inactive activity accounts. Could you explain this one, please?
Yes, we are requesting that the board close the attached list of inactive activity accounts. So per board policy 4:90, an account containing student activity funds that is inactive for 12 consecutive months shall be closed and funds transferred to another student activity fund or fund with a similar purpose or district fund. Class funds, like class of 23, for example, when those are inactive, they should be transferred to the general activity fund, which is managed by Dave Mannon and then used for students throughout the building. So we are recommending that we close the following accounts. I've provided the account, the amount, where we're recommending transferring money to, and then the last time it was active, we can manually only go to the 2020-2021 school year. Any additional, going back any further, we would have to ask Skyward for assistance to run special reports for us. So that's why that language is in there. This was also reviewed with the Finance Advisory Council on June 4th.
These are fairly de minimis amounts, and it sounds like it's a good exercise in cleanup. Any questions from anyone on this? No.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the closing of inactive activity accounts and transferring remaining monies as presented in the June 9, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved, and we need a second.
Second.
Mr. Durkin, and then we do need a roll call since it's
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ms. Westcott?
Yes.
Seeing no one in attendance for visitor statements, Board of Education discussion items, I'd like to bundle with the Board of Education items for future meetings. If we have a planned future discussion of, or once the policies are available on AI, we talked about that once the press packet came through. Anything else from anyone? Okay. Matters for closed session, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. There's the HR packet. Student discipline, individual student matters, purchase, sale, or lease of real property, probable imminent or pending litigation, collective negotiations, school safety, confidentiality of closed session minutes, and superintendent's yearly goals.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois enters closed session for the purpose of considering the closed session matters as presented in the June 9, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved, and we need a second.
A second.
Second. And we need a roll call to go into close, please.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gasko?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes?
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Ms. Bayless?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Okay. It's 8:15. Thank you, everyone.